Questions about Mars that NASA still doesn't have an answer to. Hello everyone! Welcome back to our channel, Tech Luxe Zone. Mars was known as the fire star to ancient Chinese astronomers, and scientists are still burning with questions regarding the red planet. Even after dozens of spacecraft have been sent to Mars, much remains unknown about that world, and even NASA doesn't have the answer to these questions. In this video, we will talk about questions about Mars that are still unanswered by NASA. Have a look! If you like our video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We know a lot about the red planet after 4 decades of exploration, but some big questions remain unanswered. The fourth rock from the Sun, Mars has long captured both popular imagination and scientific interest. For decades, robots exploring the red planet have been beaming back pictures of a strange world full of breathtaking beauty. With mountains 3 times higher than Everest and canyons 5 times longer than the Grand Canyon, Mars is an adventure traveler's paradise. And with its dusty atmosphere, polar caps that change with the seasons, and roughly 24-hour days, Mars is Earth-like enough to beckon human visitors. Let's have a look at the unanswered questions about the red planet. The Martian atmosphere today is so cold and thin that liquid water on the surface should either evaporate or freeze into the soil. For over 4 decades, though, Mars spacecraft have snapped photos of what looks like hundreds of dried-up river channels and canyons that may have been carved by fast-flowing water in the distant past. So where did all the water go? Scientists think these eroded features could have been left over from a time when Mars was warmer and wetter, and that some may still be locked underground as ice or even deep liquid reservoirs. Orbiters looking down on Mars have shown large amounts of water-frozen ice at the planet's poles. In 2015, images from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter showed strong evidence that liquid water may flow intermittently on the modern Martian surface. Based on the orbiter's data, researchers identified the chemical fingerprints of hydrated minerals on many steep crater slopes, where mysterious darkish streaks have been previously spotted. It's possible that briny Mars water flows on these hills during warm seasons and fades away when it gets cold. But without closer examination, it's hard to say for sure whether these recurring features are indeed being made by water or simple flows of dry dirt. Meanwhile, Europe's Mars Express orbiter used ground-penetrating radar to discover signs of a 12-mile-long lake underneath the planet's south polar ice cap. Scientists believe the underground lake can stay liquid because of its concentrated, briny nature. Mars may have many such large water reservoirs scattered across its polar regions, the scientists suggest. Finding them and figuring out how to access their bounty could be critical for potential human explorers visiting Mars in the future. Why is the northern hemisphere smooth and the southern hemisphere heavily cratered? In the 1970s, NASA's Viking missions made the first complete survey of the topography of Mars. Since then, scientists have been puzzling over why the planet has 2 faces. The northern hemisphere is much flatter and lies lower than the heavily cratered highlands of the southern hemisphere, with a difference in elevation of between 3 and 5 miles. Theories have suggested that internal geological processes, like heat convection in the mantle, could have formed Mars's present-day features. It's also possible that the planet's northern half was worn down over time thanks to a vast ocean filling this global basin. Other studies, however, have come up with a more violent hypothesis for this bizarre dichotomy. Perhaps a large asteroid, the size of Earth's moon, smashed into the planet's south pole 3.9 billion years ago. Such a devastating impact would have been a defining moment on Mars, churning up all the magma ocean that gave rise to the red planet's volcanism, which in turn might have spewed the material that created the southern highlands. Figuring out this aspect of the red planet's past could help scientists better understand where future explorers may want to land to find the best resources for establishing a sustained human presence. What is generating methane in Mars's atmosphere? In the past few years, both Earth-based telescopes and Mars orbiters have detected traces of methane on Mars, a gas that could be the result of present-day biological activity or that could signify some other geological processes at play. Recently, findings from NASA's Curiosity rover suggested that low levels of methane on Mars skyrocket tenfold over the course of months. This indicates that there is ongoing production of methane, which is perhaps being vented and quickly dispersed around the rover's Gale crater landing site. While the same gas in Earth's atmosphere is mostly the result of biological activity, scientists say that these Martian observations are not necessarily hardcore evidence of microbial life. Is there life on Mars? The main ingredient for life, as we know it, is liquid water, and signs of its presence on Mars have kept hopes alive of finding past or present signatures of life. But the Martian surface is a harsh place, with wild temperature swings and little protection from harmful ultraviolet radiation. Many scientists believe that dried-up lake beds, like the Gale crater, could perhaps harbor fossils or other traces of past organic life near the surface. And NASA's upcoming mega mission, known for now as the 2020 Mars rover, will look for these kinds of traces. Meanwhile, extreme life forms on Earth, including signs of microbes living deep in the planet's interior, offer hope that something could be alive on Mars today. However, some experts argue that sending humans to Mars will mess up the hunt for alien life. Could humans live on Mars? To answer whether or not life did or did not exist on Mars, people might actually have to go there and find out. NASA's plan, as of 1969, was to have a human Mars mission by 1981 and a permanent Mars base by 1988. However, interplanetary human voyage posed definite scientific and technological questions. One would have to deal with the rigors of travel, the issues of food, water, and oxygen, the deleterious effects of microgravity, potential hazards such as fire and radiation, and the fact that any astronauts would be millions of miles away from any help and confined together for years at a time. Landing, working, living on another planet, and returning from it would offer a host of challenges as well. Nevertheless, astronauts seem eager to find out. For example, this year 6 volunteers lived in a pretend spacecraft for nearly a year and a half in the so-called Mars 500 project, the longest spaceflight simulation ever conducted, aimed at replicating a manned mission to Mars from beginning to end. There are even numerous volunteers for a one-way trip to the Red Planet. Tiny rock-eating microbes could mine precious extraterrestrial resources from Mars and pave the way for the first human colonists. And farmers could grow crops on its surface. The mystery as to whether or not humans will ever go to Mars may rest largely on whether or not the powers that be can be convinced to go there. Did Mars have oceans? Numerous missions to Mars have revealed a host of features on the red planet that suggest it was once warm enough for liquid water to run across the surface. These features include what appear to have been vast oceans, valley networks, river deltas, and minerals that require water to form. However, current models of early Mars climate cannot explain how such warm temperatures could have existed, as the sun was much weaker back then, leading some to ask whether these features might have been created by winds or other mechanisms. Still, there is evidence suggesting that ancient Mars was warm enough to support liquid water in at least one site on its surface. Other findings hint that ancient Mars was once cold and wet, not cold and dry, nor warm and wet, as is often argued. Is Earth's life from Mars? Meteorites discovered in Antarctica that came from Mars, blasted off the red planet by cosmic impacts, have structures that resemble ones made by microbes on Earth. Although much research since then suggests chemical rather than biological explanations for these structures, the debate continues. These findings do raise the tantalizing possibility that life on Earth actually originated on Mars long ago, carried here on meteorites. If you like our video, don't forget to like and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.